Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes people are just driven by price, aren't they? Sometimes, and it's unfortunate because, like you say, they could be paying twice for a job that shouldn't be the case. I've noticed more and more on a lot of my jobs that I've been doing, the risk assessments, that a lot of people, it has been a lot more driven by electricians doing the job. But then, like you say, you're having to recommend something extra. And that's nothing to say that the electrician wasn't capable of doing that. It's just that it only goes so far.
Yeah.
The install goes so far. And then it's on the wall, and that's it, job done. But there's a lot of implications, a lot of things tie in extra to that. That makes that, obviously, again, we're going back to the safety of a building. It makes the building safe.
Yeah.
And I think this is what people, and again, we're driven by cost, and especially nowadays and things like that. But I think it is just taking the time to just weigh things up a little bit and just saying, you know, it's worth that extra to get the professionals, in a sense, the people who know the deeper aspect of what them people are requiring.
But these are the same people that go like, oh, obviously I don't know anything about fire, I'm going to ring company up. So they ring a fire company up to get this quote, and then they go with someone that then doesn't know.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's very strange because you think like, you've rang the professionals to get the job done, and then you've gone with Billy down the road who just pulls cables in and and then you've got to, if you get an inspection or anything, you've got to then go back and get everything done properly. So it just seems like false economy, really. And I mean, the bigger jobs you get, you actually never get that problem because they know you can't cut the corners. It's only really for the smaller ones.
That's it.
That like it'll be HMOs and things like that.
I think, again, it comes back to what we were initially talking about at the beginning of the podcast, people's awareness. And I feel that there is a change in people's awareness now, where they would have just gone with that as the first option. But now there's a lot more implications, and they're weighing up a lot more now to make a more measured choice.
Yeah, well, it's like from Grenfell, really, isn't it? Obviously, after that, they're horrific for all the people. Now it's people are tightening up, saying, "Oh, you need to get this." No one's. Also, what I found as well, no one's letting. Back in the day, you'd go, "Yeah, I assume that wall is made of this." Where now it's like, we can't assume. It doesn't. It's not exactly criteria. We need a third party to certify that. Which now it's now everything, really. As soon as you open a building site, you need a third party accreditation for that. You need a third party. So, I mean, obviously making buildings safer, but it's then you go and need 4 or 5 people to certify a building, don't you?
And I think it's people just being aware how far down the rabbit hole they can go with some of these jobs and some of these recommendations. But again, it's how far are you prepared to go? And there's, like you've just mentioned, Grenfell, I don't think there's any margin for error now.
No.
For businesses and any HMO or holiday let for that reason. I know significantly smaller, but they're still operating to the point where the public or people are coming into them buildings, and they need to be as safe as houses, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
Good one.
Right. Yeah, nice one. Yeah. No, I feel like, but it's the same as like when you get some risk assessors give you a cheap risk assessment, and they'll just say everything's damaged, everything's broken, they need everything new because they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They just say, and then they say, oh, here you go, here's your list. And then I feel like that gives any risk assessor a bad name, really, because what we do at our company is we say everything you can possibly do. We give you option 1, option 2, option 3. If you don't do that, there's other ways around things. So there's never really, this is this and you need to do it. It's what can we do to mitigate the risk? What can you do within budget? Where do you want to go for this? Can you reduce people? Can you change management structure? Can you do anything so you don't have to spend money? Because we hate the thought of just, oh, here you go, here's a massive invoice, just
because they're trusting us to give them a recommendation or an action. And you've used the key word, and the amount of times I've used this word probably the last few months is the mitigation. There's always some way you can mitigate a risk, always, because not everyone can put a a hole through a wall to create a fire exit. Not everyone, sometimes it's not feasible.
Yeah.
Cost,
Plan permission.
Yeah, planning permission and layout and things like that. So we're not there. Like you say, some people could go in as a risk assessor and like a bull in a china shop and just say, that's wrong, this is wrong, and things like that. But you're working with the customer at the end of the day. And anyway, and if you work with that customer, they're going to remember that, and then future jobs are going to come about. And that's it just works on a circle aspect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So what have you seen with like, you seen much of the lithium batteries fires? You seen a report, or have you seen more things going?
No, but what I have found a little bit more on some of the risk assessments is the introduction of e-bikes coming into properties and things like that. And it's just, again, I think people are becoming more aware of lithium batteries and things like that, and the danger that they can cause, and we've seen on the news where like a bike explodes and that's the whole house gone.
Yeah.
And this can happen. But I think people might look at it in the point of view of, but that's rare, or it's mainly when the battery's damaged.
It won't happen to me.
Yeah, it won't happen to me, yeah. But I've seen the bikes a lot more coming into establishments and into buildings. And at the end of the day, you're introducing a risk that doesn't need to be introduced into that building. So why take the risk? It's that thing of, let's just cancel the risk. If you're going to need your bike, people using it as transport, then have a secure unit outside, or have a way of securely storing the battery. It's just awareness again, I think.
Yeah.
Have you found anything like that?
Yeah, well, what I found is like, it's been, where it came up, it was like, oh, we've created these extinguishers, which now put out lithium fires. And then it was more a thing of like, we would recommend people took them. And people were like, oh, no. And there must be a new criteria in insurer now, where every time we're recommending, people are going, yeah, oh, we need way more on them. Because I think insurance are now going, well, hold on, we've had this many fires. And you're telling me you can put an extinguisher there, which is going to, if they can put it out straight away, for a fraction of the price it's going to cost to rebuild it. So obviously we're seeing more of that. But then we're also seeing, it's like the suppression systems for sort of lithium battery packs as well. Sort of like, lots more of that. Because I think insurance is saying, well, what can we do to lower this risk? Because obviously the fires they're only going, there's more and more lithium fires, because obviously it's a new product that's come in. But yeah, so that's what we found.
I think as well that people look, like say like the aspect of lithium batteries, people just look at the lithium battery as the battery and what it causes. I think sometimes you can overlook the fact of an insurance company, if they see that you're putting procedures in place or protocols in place, that you could significantly reduce the costs to your insurance company, your premiums and things like that. But I don't think that aspect comes into play too much. It's just that initial thought of a battery's in my building, but do I really have to do that many things to, again, take that risk down and reduce the risk? Luckily, I haven't seen anything like come of it. I've heard stories, and we just need to be aware that these things can be quite lethal when they're...
Well, it's that thing, isn't it? Like, nothing happens until something severe happens.
Exactly.
Seems to be the way, isn't it? Like, oh, we know this is a risk, right? Yeah, there's more fires. Like, people have probably been harmed and damage is caused, but as soon as something significant happens, then there'll be a law, and they'll go, right, yep, now we need them in everywhere. Scotland's normally the first to roll them out. They're normally higher than the UK.
We should have some patience or like some higher threshold.
Yeah, I think it's a higher threshold.
Yeah, that's what it is.
We're just so hard as nails, is what it is, aren't we? We're just ready for ball pain or whatever it is, I suppose.
I remember a gentleman telling the story, and it was to do with lithium batteries, and he had a friend who owned a company that drained the batteries, lithium battery, and it was mainly mobile phones they dealt with. And they received a batch of 10 mobile phones that drained the batteries, and these guys have done this for years, but it just shows you. And then they put in a secure unit. So they're well aware that something still could happen, put them in the secure unit. And this is, say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks went by, and that whole unit burned down. And it was one of them initial batteries from the initial batch of mobile phones it got. It reacted, and that and went with everything else in that building. So it's just been not underestimating them.